Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. So, Fever are doing something else that is completely mind-boggling. It makes no sense. Some of the things they are doing just make no sense. The Indiana Fever just announced that they have signed another 5'9" point guard. Amber Cox is doing something else to combat the issues that they have already helped create. It is ridiculous. Amber Cox just went and signed another 5'9" guard. It makes no sense. Okay, it makes absolutely no sense. We don't need any more guards, bro. We have plenty of guards. This is what is pissing the fan base off. It seems like you guys have no idea what you're doing. You just drafted Raven Johnson, a 5'9" point guard. You then drafted a 5'8" point guard in the third round. Now you're going and signing another 5'9" point guard. Bro, y'all really couldn't bring in Hannah Stulka? It looks like she's going somewhere else on a training camp deal. This is what I'm saying. Are y'all preparing to play in a 6' and under league or something? What is going on? What are y'all doing? What are y'all doing? This is why the fan base is in such an uproar. We don't trust the front office. Look at the moves that Amber Cox has been making, y'all. Just look at the moves. The way the Indiana Fever's front office is going about things is almost as if they are trying to build a team to win without Caitlin Clark. Stephanie White, are you trying to build a team for somebody else other than Caitlin Clark? Are you trying to move on from Caitlin Clark? What's going on here? All of these moves they have made point to trying to build a team that does not suit Caitlin Clark. I'm just being honest with you. None of this stuff makes sense. It is ridiculous. I have no idea. You guys really think running around drafting two 5'8", 5'9" point guards and signing another one is about to help you compete with the New York Liberty? You think that's about to help you compete with the Las Vegas Aces who are loading up? You think this is going to help? Where is the size outside of Aaliyah Boston? Like, come on, man. We need more. We need more size. Y'all could have brought in Hannah Stulka, bro. At this point, call Liz Cambage. We need somebody down there. We need somebody big down there. The New York Liberty just signed a 7-footer, and we're running around signing 5'8" guards. The Indiana Fever front office is trolling us. I'm serious. They are trolling us. Because at some point, you look at these moves and you try to make basketball sense out of them, and it just doesn't add up anymore. It stops being strategy and it starts feeling like chaos. And let me be clear, before people twist this, I don't hate Shatori Walker-Kimbrough. I actually liked her a lot when she was with Washington. She was a solid bench piece for the Washington Mystics. She gave you around 7.5 points per game. She had energy. She had moments where she could swing games. There were stretches where she looked like a real microwave scorer. You go back and check that 2024 game log, and there was a run where she just caught fire. 16, 17, 19, 15, just stacking buckets. That version of her? That's a useful player. But that's not the point. The point is roster construction. The point is fit. The point is what this team actually needs. Because last year with Atlanta, she averaged 1.7 points per game. That's not a small drop-off, that's a cliff. And even if you want to say, okay, bad system, bad role, whatever, fine. Even if you believe she can bounce back, you still have to ask why this player on this roster at this time. She's a 5'9" scoring guard. She doesn't pass. She's not a true point guard. I don't know why people keep trying to label every guard as a point guard just because of height. That's not how basketball works. Skill set matters. Role matters.
She's a scorer. That's it. And here's the problem. The Indiana Fever already have that. They already have multiple versions of that. You've got an elite point guard who can score at a high level but is still developing defensively. You've got an elite 2 guard who can flat out get buckets, but also isn't known as a lockdown defender. That's your core backcourt identity already. So why are you stacking more of the same archetype behind them? Why are you building redundancy instead of balance? Because right now, this roster is overloaded with undersized scoring guards. You drafted Raven Johnson, another smaller guard. You brought in more guards in the draft. You have Ty Harris, you have Kelsey Mitchell, you have multiple players who operate in that same size and role range. And now you add another 5'9" scorer who doesn't defend at a high level and doesn't facilitate. At some point, you have to ask, what is the plan? Because this doesn't look like a team being built around its best player. It looks like a team just collecting pieces without a clear blueprint. And that's where the frustration is coming from. It's not about hating a player, it's about questioning direction. This team doesn't need more scoring off the bench. That's not the issue. You already have players who can come in and get buckets. What you don't have enough of is size. What you don't have enough of is defense. What you don't have enough of is versatility in the front court. That's the gap. And instead of addressing that gap, you're doubling down on the one thing you already have in abundance. It makes no sense. And then you look around the league and it gets even more frustrating. Other teams are loading up with size. They're adding length, interior presence, players who can protect the rim or at least compete physically. Meanwhile, the Fever look like they're building a 6 and under lineup and hoping it somehow works out. That's not how you compete at the highest level. You need balance. You need different skill sets. You need lineup flexibility. Right now, this roster is becoming one-dimensional, and in a league where matchups matter so much, that's a dangerous place to be. And then you hear the rumors, players like Han Shu potentially available, bigs overseas playing at a high level, front court players who could at least give you size and depth, and instead of taking a swing there, you go and sign another guard. That's why people are frustrated, because there were options. There were different directions you could have taken. You could have brought in a developmental big, you could have added a defensive specialist, you could have at least tried to diversify the roster. But instead, it's more of the same. And again, this isn't about saying Shatori Walker-Kimbrough can't play. She can. She's proven that in the past. On a minimum deal, as a depth piece in the right situation, sure, that's fine. But context matters. If this was the first guard you added, nobody would care. If this was early in the process, nobody would question it. But it's not. It's part of a pattern, and that pattern is what people are reacting to, because now it feels like every move is just another undersized guard. Every addition looks the same, and you start to wonder if the front office even sees the imbalance. You start to wonder if they're building to something or if they're just reacting move by move without a long-term structure. And that's where the trolling feeling comes from. Because fans aren't stupid. They can see the roster, they can see the overlap, they can see the weaknesses. And when those weaknesses don't get addressed, frustration builds, especially when it feels like the team is ignoring the obvious. You need size, you need defense, you need players who can do the things your stars don't do. That's how you build a winning roster. You complement your core. You don't duplicate it 5 times. Right now, it feels like duplication. And then you get into the bigger questions. What does this mean for the rest of the roster? Who's getting cut? Who's actually making this team? Because every signing has a ripple effect. Every addition pushes someone else closer to the edge. And if you're cutting players who at least offer size or a different skill set just to keep adding more guards, that's not just questionable, that's backwards. It's backwards team building. And look, maybe there's a plan behind the scenes. Maybe there's a trade coming. Maybe there's a bigger move that hasn't happened yet. That's the only way this starts to make sense. Because as it stands right now, it doesn't. It just looks like a team that doesn't know what identity it's trying to build. And that's the real concern. Because talent alone isn't enough. You can have good players and still be a bad team if the pieces don't fit together. Basketball isn't just about collecting names, it's about constructing lineups that work. Right now, this doesn't look like it works. It looks crowded in the backcourt, thin in the front court, and unbalanced across the board. And until that changes, every move like this is going to get the same reaction. confusion, frustration, and yeah, people saying the front office is trolling. Because at some point, when the same issue keeps showing up and nothing gets done about it, what else are people supposed to think? What are they doing? Tell what you think. Don't forget, like and subscribe.